Good day, Rwanda. Good day, Kigali, and good day to you. And thank you for checking out the Hip Rwanda podcast, Rwanda's first and only hospitality industry podcast. It is episode 3. And to all the friends of the podcast, thanks for coming back. And if you're new, you're most welcome. Don't forget you can catch us anywhere you get your podcasts. That's Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We also now are uploading the podcast to YouTube as well, so you can check out our YouTube channel. You can get all the links on our website, hiprwanda.com. So Rwanda, so much to talk about. After probably one of the longest waits in CHOGM history, CHOGM came, and just like that, it's gone. What an awesome week Rwanda had. I think Kigali did such a great job. And I think the best place to start before I start chatting about my experiences and what I saw, I think it is most appropriate to mention the tweet that was sent out by President Paul Kagame on Sunday. And he says, I quote, "Congratulations to all the organizers, the security forces who kept everyone safe, the staff across all the venues, and all Rwandans who contributed to the success of CHOGM 2022. Thank you immensely for doing the country proud." And when I saw that, I thought it must be such a fantastic feeling when you have the opportunity to put your nation on the global stage. And at the end of this week, it just must be so fantastic to know that everyone in Rwanda put on such a great show in front of such a large audience, and all these people are going to be going back home and, number one, obviously telling everyone that, people need to come to Rwanda and experience how great this country is, but also maybe changing some misconceptions that people have about Rwanda. There were a lot of dignitaries who were here for their first time. So, that's always very, very important, because I think once these dignitaries experience new countries for themselves, they're more likely to be wanting to work closely with these other countries. And that's obviously also what the Commonwealth is about countries helping each other and working together. So yeah, just absolutely well done to the country, to the city. And what we are going to talk a little bit more about later on in the episode is, just as quickly as CHOGM came and went, past week during CHOGM, we learned that Rwanda will be hosting the next FIFA Executive Committee meeting, which will be in March next year. And we know when it comes to international things and meetings and planning, that's not very far away. That'll be upon us very, very shortly. So we will definitely dedicate some time to discuss exactly how well Rwanda is doing within the meetings and event space, and just drawing those international events to the country. So yet another well done, and but we'll touch on that in a bit. Before we get there, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about what I went to go see. I didn't want to travel around the city too much during this week. I did get caught up in a little bit of traffic on Saturday going up to the Kigali Street Festival. I had to go all the way around the back way, coming through the back of Kiyovu. And roads were closed. It was probably my fault, though. I remember going towards mid-afternoon, late-ish afternoon, and I think a lot of people would have been leaving the CHOGM meetings for that day. So I think I mistakenly timed my travel into town around that similar time. But for the most part, it was pretty okay. The street festival itself, I thought, was absolutely amazing. It is so nice to see what that space looks like. It wasn't too long ago when the car-free area in town was really just a cordoned off road. Now, all the lovely benches that are there, the little stores that have been installed in the middle. I think it looked absolutely fantastic. I did notice that it wasn't particularly busy. This could have been more due to the time I went, and like I say, a lot of the roads were closed. It wasn't the easiest place to get to. If I have to criticize that particular street festival, I think if you aren't anywhere within Kiyovu, it was a little bit difficult to get to. But we spoke about that. We knew that travel was going to be a little bit difficult. But one thing I noticed when I was there is the atmosphere. So the food was, the food options were great. There was a lot of things on sale, and not just touristy things. Some really great stuff. So if local guys went, local people went, you could actually enjoy something. Not just the stereotypical stuff to sell to tourists. But for me, I think the most enjoyable part was just the atmosphere. Um, it was almost like everyone was just on holiday. There was just such everyone was greeting, everyone wanted to talk to me. Everyone, I was walking around with my microphone because I was hoping to just interview some people for the podcast and just find out how the week's been going. But unfortunately, there was such a lot of music everywhere that it just would have been almost impossible to hear anyone that I was recording. So I sort of abandoned that. But I was so for a certain time while I was walking around holding my microphone, a lot of people were interested, where I was from, and they thought I was a journalist doing some sort of reporting. Um, so what I realized is that for us in the city, I think we put on such a great welcoming atmosphere to everyone who came. I experienced it myself, and people were generally interested in chatting to you. At some point, I went and had a seat on the benches that are provided, which are really great, by the way. They have like charging points and everything. It's really impressive, this area. And yeah, people were just talking, and there were a lot of guys doing photography and taking pictures for people. And I think the most of my time, instead of, I thought I was going to go up there, take some pictures, have some food, try some food, and have a drink. I spent most of my time up there just chatting with other people, asking questions, finding out. When I told a lot of people that I kind of live here and I've been living here for a while, they were like, "Oh, okay." Um, but yeah, absolutely fantastic experience. And if that's what I'm experiencing, I can only imagine that for all those who we hosted for this past week, they must be going back home with nothing but the best things to say, which I think is absolutely fantastic. The other event that I went to was the cricket match at Gahanga Stadium, and to be honest, I think that was probably the highlight of the week for me. I'm obviously a big cricket fan, and again, it also just comes down to the match itself was just played in just this sort of positive attitude. It was just an enjoyable game to watch, an enjoyable time. Everyone had smiles on their faces. Absolutely fantastic. And there were some celebrities. So we had David Seaman, a former goalkeeper for Arsenal Football Club. Obviously, that was quite a highlight for me. I'm a massive Arsenal fan, so it was great to see him. There were some other past cricketers, international cricketers. We also had, the teams were made up also of the ladies who took part in the ladies tournament that just happened, the ladies T20 tournament, and a few other people. And like I say, probably my best day of this past week. Utterly enjoyable, great to be out, and again, Ganga is such a great stadium to go watch cricket at because it's you're so close to the action. So those were my two CHOGM experiences. I think they were absolutely fantastic. Let me know where you went, and I do know there were some other street parties. I saw some pictures and reports of the Chopla Festival. That looked like it was chaotically awesome and just full of people. I'd love to know from you guys, how was CHOGM for you? What did you experience? What was the highlight of your week? Let us know. Send us an email on hiprwanda@gmail.com, or you can go to hiprwanda.com and just send us a message, subscribe, and let me know. Let me know how your CHOGM was. And it almost seems so strange to be saying it. I think that's it with of what we'll be discussing around CHOGM 2022. We won't hear about it again, but I think it's a great time for us to turn our attention to what's coming up next. And you know, it must really be said, I think if there's one thing within the hospitality sector that is being handled so well is the amount of events that the city of Kigali is trying to bring in, and Rwanda as a country, just to bring international world class events and conferences. And we will put a link to the calendar for everything that's coming up. You can also go check it out on the RDB website. Sorry, the RCB website. But we'll link it in the blog post for this episode. So if you are interested in what is coming up, you can go check it out. It is very important that whether you're a consumer in the hospitality industry or a worker, that you actually check this calendar on a regular basis. For the consumers, you don't want to know that or hear about something that has just come and gone, and you didn't realize that it was coming up. I'll give you some examples of what's coming up in July. And for the hospitality workers, it's always good to make sure that you are prepared and knowing, to know what's coming up. So we'll just look at July, and already, just as we say goodbye to CHOGM 2022, we have a whole wide range of things happening. So we have the World Coffee Producers Forum. That'll be from the 11th to the 13th of July. Then the African Coffee and Tea Expo. That's from the 14th to the 16th of July. So these are two very hospitality, industry type events. And then we have the African Taekwondo Championship. That'll be at the Kigali Arena from the 13th to the 17th. So another great sporting event at a great venue. Then we have the FIBA Africa World Cup qualifiers. So some more basketball. That's going to be absolutely amazing. Then there is the 25th Rwandan International Trade Fair. That's at the Gikondo Ground Expo. And with dates not yet determined, the Kigali Wine Festival. There are a few other events that are happening for July. So if you want to know all about everything that's happening, go and check out the calendar. And I think one of the most important aspects of getting these international events into the country is the fact that they get well supported. So wherever you can, especially the sporting events, because sport is so important for hospitality. There was actually a little bit of news that came out of that announcement about Rwanda hosting the FIFA executive meeting next year, which we'll talk about in a second. But when we host these international tournaments and we attend them well, then the organizers do want to come back. And when sporting events come back, especially international sporting events, and your team sports like cricket and football and rugby, that means we have, most of these tournaments happen over 1, 2, or 3 weeks, depending on its size. And we have large amounts of people, and those large amount of people need accommodation and hotels full over these periods. One thing that came out of the recent FIFA meeting, they've recently just made an announcement, and this is just to really hit home how important sports is to hospitality and attracting these events, which Rwanda does so fantastically well, is the current squad size that you can take to the FIFA World Cup was 23 players and is now 26 players. So this seems very small and insignificant, but if we look at a tournament like the FIFA World Cup, that tournament takes place over about a month, and a lot of the teams arrive even quite earlier than the day when the tournament starts, so they can acclimatize and get used to playing conditions and many other things. So the teams that come and stay when they go to the host nation, they might stay for a month and a half, almost 2 months. Now, there are 32 teams that take part in the FIFA World Cup. So if we take our 32 teams and we multiply that by each one of those teams bringing 3 extra players, and that might even mean that 3 extra players, you might need 1 extra physical therapist. So that it's not just the extra 3, but if we look at just that, then you've got 96 more people that are coming to a host nation to participate in a tournament. 96 people is your average, corporate hotel. That's how many rooms your average decent size hotel has. So, just by a small little, what seemingly is an insignificant change, and it's something that we might not pay attention to as consumers in hospitality or workers, it might just seem like, well, 3 more people in a squad, cool. But from a hospitality standpoint, that means a significant increase in revenue. So yeah, just imagine having a that one decision that FIFA has made now means that the next, I don't know if it's going to come in the World Cup coming up in Qatar or it'll be for the one after, but that's 96 rooms that have now been added to every single time the World Cup is hosted. So that really also just shows you why every nation is vying for these tournaments. And obviously not every tournament is the soccer World Cup or the football World Cup. And for some of us, we might not be too interested in a particular sport, or another sport might not have such a big following. It doesn't matter. When the country you live in, when your country hosts something, just support it, because you might not actually be quite aware just how important. For instance, if we talk about the basketball tournament that was just a few weeks ago, just arriving at Kigali Arena, paying your 5,000 francs and going to watch one of the games, not even going to every day of the week that there was games, you are filling up that arena, showing that to the tournament organizers that we are a viable place to bring and to return to. And when you do things like that, and then the country builds, and a lot of people might say that a place like Rwanda is a little bit too small to host, for instance, the FIFA World Cup. I think that is definitely a possibility for a country like this. If I believe, I recently read an article. I don't know if it's confirmed. So, but I believe that Rwanda is trying to attract the Veterans World Cup next year. And again, that's just another event that if we're able to get that here into the country, you support that and you show all these footballing organizations exactly what we can do and how we can host and how we can support these events. It's just going to mean the world of difference for hospitality in Rwanda. So Rwanda, you continue to do that great job you're doing as a country to bring in these events, and all of those listening to this podcast, it's our responsibility to make sure we support those events and do everything we can to make them a success. And with that, I think we can now move on to the next portion of the show. And we have a hotel review and a restaurant review this week. I know we've been waiting for a hotel review. I just didn't want to get in the way of all the hotels while CHOGM was going on. This week we do not have a guest because I normally record the guest segment in the middle of the week, and obviously, this past week I didn't want to bother anyone within the hospitality sector. So, but I was able to on Sunday, which is yesterday at the time of recording this, I was able to go to a hotel. I wasn't actually going to review this place at all. I went to go look for and chat with them about rates. For I have a client who's looking for some accommodation, and when I arrived there, I was so taken aback by this place that I thought, you know what, let me use this opportunity to review this place. So and my reason for going back, this was the restaurant that I reviewed in episode 1. So that's La Villa Suites and Cafe. They have 8 rooms on their property, and I think that they are absolutely amazing. So as always, everything that I discuss here, you can go and check out pictures on the blog post of episode 3. And I took quite a few pictures. I didn't photograph all of the rooms. And before I sort of break down exactly, what I think of it, is number one. So I've been to their restaurants. Their food is absolutely fantastic. I think that the rooms that they have are amazing. And if I had to talk about exactly what this hotel can be, I think for me, locals need to support this place. This is a hotel that you can go to for a in-city holiday. So if you're looking, maybe it's you and your partner, you have an anniversary coming up, or even if within your organization, if you guys host a lot of people coming from out of town and you have to accommodate them, this is an absolutely amazing place to do that. It's on KG9, probably about right near the new Rose, I think it's called Rose Garden Apartments. They are right next door. Absolutely great venue. And like I say, the rooms are absolutely fantastic. Now, what they've done with this, so they have 8 rooms, so it's not a very big property, but for that sort of boutique and niche market, if that's something that you like to experience, I would definitely suggest going to go check them out. So they have 8 rooms. And what I found so amazing is that each one of their rooms is themed to a particular geographical location. So they have the Rwanda room, they have a Japan, they have a room dedicated to New York City, one for Italy. I took pictures of the Rwanda and the Japan room. You can go check that out on the blog post. The service that I received when I went to do the restaurant review was absolutely amazing. And this past few days when I went there, the manager who met me was so accommodating. He helped me. Obviously, like I didn't go just to review this hotel at all. Actually, I went to go get some rates and get some information for a client, and just such a great, accommodating bunch of staff. He allowed me to take his, the pictures that you'll see on the blog post, and this is, in my opinion, one of the little gems, one of the little hidden gems that's right on one of the main roads. So if you have anything coming up, if you want to spoil a partner, if you within your corporate space you need to book accommodation for people, I would highly recommend La Villa Suites. And like I say, the rates include a bed and breakfast. I'm not going to publish any rates. You can obviously contact them directly for rates. They have an Instagram account as well. All of the information, if you need it, go and check out the blog post for episode 3 for this podcast. I think it's also worth mentioning that I did actually ask the manager when it had opened, because I was out of Rwanda for 2021 and I wasn't really aware of this property at all. And when I did the food review in episode 1, Jimmy, who obviously joins us on the podcast every week, he even, when he saw the blog post, he even said to me, I never knew about that place. It looks amazing. I think he's since gone, and he's also come back and said, absolutely amazing. But this hotel opened up in 2019, and I must say that was probably globally one of the worst times to have to open a hotel. So they opened their hotel, and as they're about to get going, get traction, COVID hits. So the fact that this place is still there and was able to come through COVID and still be able to provide services to this day is absolutely amazing. Congratulations to them, because there were a lot of hotels all over the world that really didn't survive the COVID situation, and it's especially difficult for those hotels who had just opened. So I think it would be absolutely fantastic if you guys could show them love, go check out their restaurant, and I'm very certain that if even if you just go there for something to eat, if you speak to the waiter, ask the manager if the occupancy is relatively low, I'm almost certain they'll be happy to show you some rooms, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. All the rooms have king size beds. They are very well kept, very, very, very clean. And as I say, every room has a particular theme. And when you go into each one, you can clearly see the time that they've taken to bring that theme across. It seems when they first mentioned, well, each room is a different theme, I didn't quite understand, because, do they just decorate each room kind of differently? They've gone way beyond that. They've brought, like, the Rwanda room and the Japan room. When you step in there and you just look around, you just get the feeling that, like, when you're in the room in the Japanese room, you feel like you're in Japan. So I think this can be an absolutely amazing experience for people who are looking for a local holiday. If you don't want to drive out of the city and go away for a weekend, if you just want to stay somewhere close, this is an awesome place to do so, because not only can I confirm that the rooms are great, but the food is absolutely fantastic. So you'll have an all-around amazing experience at this place, and please do go and check them out. So that now will bring us on to the restaurant review. And when I do the restaurant reviews specifically, I like to try and go somewhere I've never been before. In all honesty, I have been to this place once before, But my reason for going back is I went to this particular restaurant. My children homeschool, and there is a group of homeschoolers who meet on a regular basis. So, the kids can socialize, and they met at this particular place. And I went along. I had a little bit of work to do, so I didn't go for the review. I didn't really have food in mind, um, and I was doing all sorts of work. But when we left and the bill came, I was quite shocked at the pricing. I didn't quite understand how cheap it was, and the food was absolutely amazing. So this week, when I thought, okay, where am I going to review? I thought, let me go back. Let me dedicate some time and see exactly what's going on in this place, and so I can come back and know um, what was happening. I actually thought I got undercharged the first time I went there, and I just went and checked the receipt and made sure that they had everything on. So the place I'm talking about is in Gishushu. It is Turumbe. I believe it's very popular. For those of you who don't know about it, you have to go and check it out. So yeah, they are in Gishushu in KG 599. It's very easy to find if you are driving in your car, coming from Kigali Heights side, driving towards and passing Simba in Gishushu. When you come up to the intersection where RDB is, at that intersection you will turn right, and as you go down into Gishushu, it's the very first left, KG 599, and you will find a Turumbe shop on the right hand side of the road. Very easy to find. If obviously you can just get onto Google Maps and Google Maps to this place. And as always, all the pictures of I took pictures of all the food on the blog post. You can go check them out. But these guys focus on health. That is definitely their focal point. What I really like, if there's one thing that I like the most in a restaurant, is when a restaurant doesn't try and do too much. Instead, they focus on doing fewer items, but doing them absolutely amazingly. And this is definitely the best way to explain a Turumba shop. They do not have the biggest menu. They focus more on the health side. So you can get yourself some wraps. I think they have two or three sandwich options, uh, great snacks, dips, and just fresh ingredients. So and based on where it is definitely somewhere where you can go for your lunch break. So if you're a corporate and you're looking for a place to go and have an affordable, healthy, hearty meal for lunch, Turumbe is definitely where you want to go. They have a little play area for kids. Well, it's actually not little. There's actually quite a substantial kids play, or jungle gym area, and also a great place to take your kids because it's not necessarily pizzas and burgers. These are great things, but we don't always want to be feeding these the stuff to our kids, and the meals are absolutely cheap. This is what I if I and I don't like to say that this restaurant is great because it's cheap, because cheap doesn't always mean better. I'm sure you've all had an experience where you go and buy something, whether it's an experience at a restaurant, or you go cheap and you think, well, this is definitely going to save me a lot of money, and then you get there, you try the food, and you realize, you know what, I would have rather just spend a little bit more money and have a much better experience. But for what Turumbe is putting out, and like I say, this stuff is incredibly healthy, incredibly fresh, and definitely affordable. So I went there by myself, and I ordered a few items because I like to be able to bring you quite a few pictures, and not just one dish. So I ordered a, a tortillas and guacamole to start with, and then I ordered an avocado toast. I think there's the one that I chose was called the California, which has got avocado and hummus and tomato with a fried egg on top. And then I had a breakfast burrito as the main dish. To be honest, the breakfast burrito I had to take for takeaway, and I brought home for my wife because there was just so much food and it was so filling and so fresh. You can go check out the pictures of all of that stuff. And then I ordered a water, and it's also a very quiet place to go and chill. So if you also if you need to go work somewhere, I tested their Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is incredibly fast. I think it's like 50 meg Wi-Fi, so that's also something they have for their customers. If you're looking to go to a restaurant and you've got a little bit of work to do, um, this is also definitely a good place where you can get that done. It's not the biggest restaurant, but I'll definitely tell you, if they continue to output the food that they are doing at the prices that they are doing at this place, is going to become absolutely insanely popular. I don't know, it might already be super popular. Let me know, those of you who have been there, and your experience. So just to get back to the food, I started with tortilla chips and guacamole, absolutely fresh. Guacamole was absolutely amazing. The tortilla chips they make in house. So again, these are not just sort of greasy bag, commercial like Doritos that just get thrown on. Care is put into each and every single dish. Um, just the guacamole and tortilla snack, let's call it a starter, that is substantial. And then I went on to the avocado toast, the California avocado toast that has the hummus with it, and the egg on top. The egg on top is optional. I think you pay extra 500 for them to put an egg on top. And when I got done with the avocado toast, like I said, I was absolutely full, but it was so great. I felt quite light because, again, this is a very fresh meal, and there's not much guilt that goes with it because everything that you're eating is really, avocado and hummus. These are all, and the toast itself is also like a whole wheat bread. That was absolutely fantastic. And then I didn't have the breakfast burrito because I was so full. But when I brought it home, my wife tried it. She said it was absolutely amazing. The breakfast burrito also comes with a small side of guacamole and what I think was a cilantro and yogurt type dip. Um, so that's really, really great. Um, but what I can't get over this place is, after having the avocado and tortillas, let's say entree, and then the avocado toast, then a breakfast burrito, which is really big, and that came with a little bit of guacamole and the yogurt dipping. I also ordered a bottle of water. So I then get up to go and pay at the end of my meal, and I see that there are donuts. Now, I've got two young kids, and I know, donuts are their absolute favorite. So I asked the lady at the counter, how much are the donuts? The donuts are 1,000 each. So I said, well, please bag two of those for me. So I had basically um, a starter, a what you would probably call a small main dish in the avocado toast, a substantial dish in the breakfast burrito, and a bottle of water. And then I still got two uh, really great donuts for takeaway. And when she rang my bill up, it came to a total of 13,000 francs. I don't know how that's possible, but it is. And again, I actually checked, and I made sure to check. And this is actually a note. Before I went onto the Google business page for the restaurant, and it has a picture of their menu. I don't think it was uploaded by them, it's uploaded by a patron. And the menu that is on display there is obviously a menu from a while back, because the prices are not the same. The prices are obviously a little bit more now, which makes complete sense, and which I found even more crazy. So there's clearly been a price increase. I didn't check when how old that menu was. That's on Google, and but even with a price increase, this place is still fantastic. So who would I recommend this for? Well, absolutely everyone. For number one is, if you're vegan, vegetarian, you're gonna absolutely love it here. If you it's really close to a corporate area. It's very close to RDB, and so it is in a business area. So if you're a corporate anywhere in Gashushu and you want to go for a really good lunch, uh, this is definitely for you as well. Most importantly, if you have kids and you don't always want to take them to a place where they're going to have fries and burgers and foods that aren't necessarily great for them, this is definitely a place you want to take your kids. Also, if you have kids who are a little bit picky and they don't like eating certain things, this is a great place to take them to let them experience new things, because the food is all very healthy but incredibly tasty. Sometimes kids just see something green and they're completely uninterested. They also have some soups. I didn't try any of their soups, but I do know that they are very good. In my previous time going there, some people with us ordered some of those. So this is really an absolutely amazing place to go and eat. And then, like I say, you don't have any of that guilt afterwards. So please give Tarumba and Gishushu a try. Show them some love. They absolutely deserve it. It's so very rare to find a place that is doing great food and healthy food that's still very flavorful and very enjoyable. And when you leave there, you don't feel like your stomach's significantly bigger and your wallet is not significantly lighter. It's absolutely amazing. So that's it for this week's hotel and restaurant review. It would be absolutely amazing if you guys could show these guys some support and love. So it's around this time that we would normally chat to our week's guest, but as I mentioned at the top of the show, we did not have a guest for this episode. Obviously, because the week of CHOGM 2022, we decided to take a step back, stay out of everyone's way, and just let them do the amazing job that they did in hosting CHOGM 2022. So we'll jump straight into the last segment of our podcast. Our podcast will be significantly shorter this episode. Again, it's just because of what was happening, for the week of CHOGM, because this episode gets recorded in that week. So we really didn't do too much. We stayed out of everyone's way, so we can ensure success. So let's go straight into hearing from Jimmy. He's back in Kigali, which is absolutely amazing. We'll be catching up this week. We'll have quite a significant portion on recruitment in episode 4, so make sure you check that out. Jimmy and I will actually be recording this coming Tuesday. So yeah, let's just go straight into it and hear from Jimmy. Hey, it's Mr. Jimy Mugabo. Welcome again to the podcast, episode number 3. Can you actually believe that it is going so fast? I thought we could jump straight into a particular part of what we were discussing last week, and that was sports and hospitality. I've just been talking about how important sport is to hospitality, and I was thinking, Simmings, now that you are back in the city, let's pick up on the rugby. And I thought maybe you wanted to let us know exactly what might be coming up on the rugby front. Are there any tournaments, anything going on within Thousand Hills Rugby? Take it away. Let us know anything that you have.
Hi, Clayton. Thank you very much for having me again. As I always say, it's a pleasure being part of this amazing podcast. So yeah, definitely I'm back. It feels good, and I'm looking forward to some more work and enjoying some rugby, and definitely coming during CHOGM, so there are more to be updated on. Back to your questions about if there's what to expect this month. There's not really much to expect. I just, as you know, I arrived on Friday, and I'm still catching up. But what I know is that Thousand Hills Rugby is organizing a festival. We normally do an annual festival, but during COVID, we stopped it. So it's a 7th tournament where we try to bring in teams here. And last time we invited a team from Uganda, Congo, and we are trying to see if we can invite a team from Burundi as well. So definitely this podcast will also serve as a way to spread the word as we are planning it, and we'll definitely keep you posted. So that's what I will say as an event, and we are expecting to have it during the first week of August, or the second week. This gives us just a month to prepare, and we will let you know all the updates early on so that you can spread the word and you can invite your friends, and family as well. So, also in terms of partnering with the Thousand Hills Rugby, so you can just contact us through email. It's thousandhillsrugby@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us via social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's just Thousand Hills Rugby, and you can see all the updates, and that's where you can reach out to us, and one team member will be responding, and we can organize to meet and discuss further details in terms of partnership.
I was saying a little bit earlier in the show that it is very clear that Rwanda has got a significant focus in attracting, these big global events and meetings and sporting events. So there's CHOGM. We have some, there was the announcement of the FIFA committee meeting, the executive meeting that's happening next year. That's coming, and I was going through the calendar that's on the RCB website just for July, and there are a significant amount of events. But if Rwanda continues on this part that it's on in doing so well in securing this, it's very clear that within the hospitality sector, for those who are looking for, you might be unemployed or considering a career path, just from the outside looking in, it is very clear that hospitality, as a career choice in Rwanda, is definitely a very viable and very positive option. So I was thinking maybe this week we could start a weekly part of the podcast where we focus on something specific geared towards those who are, might be looking for a job. So I thought maybe you could take us through, for those who are looking to get in the industry, whether you have experience or not, whether it's you want to start going to a hotel school or just starting to work directly with a hotel and get some experience. What would be the top 5 things for someone to be doing to position themselves to find themselves in the employed in the hospitality industry?
It's really good that you're bringing that on. I read about the FIFA. I think is it the General Assembly that will be hosted in Rwanda, and that's the 73rd. It's really clear that Rwanda is positioning itself as not just tourism but big meetings and conferences. A place where sporting events can take place, and all not just the meetings but also the sports, and with the building of different stadiums around Kigali and the provinces, you can clearly see that the ministry, but also the leaders in terms of the sport and hospitality, they're really looking ahead into positioning Rwanda as the big or the go-to place for these different events. So what you said here, this means that hospitality will definitely benefit from this, and I will say that it won't be a surprise to see some of the hospitality businesses starting to actually learning about these events that are coming up and positioning themselves as the favorite place to host maybe those who will attend the events, but also if there are some sporting events, to position yourself as the best restaurant they can go to, the best lodges, the best maybe campsite, the best food delivery, or the best hotel they can stay in. So 5 things I would say for someone, I don't know if we are talking about businesses, but also someone who would like to work in this industry. 5 things that one can actually start to look into and to tap in, so that by that time they will stand a chance to be employed. I would say one, and first and foremost, the right attitude. So with the right attitude, you are able to learn new things. You're able to be patient, and you're able to focus on the bigger picture. I would say attitude. Second one is being patient also it's important because it doesn't happen just on a blink of an eye. So you have to put in some work. You have to be able to stand when you feel like you're falling or when you feel like you're not encouraged, to just be able to keep going. So patience, and also have the grit. The grit is the never give up mindset. Is more like, okay, this is what I want, and I'm doing all it takes to get there. It might not take a month or 2 months. It might take me a year. It might take me 5 or 10. But I'm willing to put in some work. So have that grit and the willingness to continue no matter what is really important. And the other thing which is important, for the fourth thing, is do some research. Do some research in relation to what you are looking for, in relation of what hotel you would like to work for, or if it's an event, what position are you interested in. Then you do some research, in terms of how things are done in that particular position. If, for example, you are an event planner, or if, for example, you are a banqueting waiter, or you are a supervisor, a restaurant supervisor, and you would like to work in those big events, check online how things are done elsewhere. Check where you're working currently or where you worked in the past, how they did host big events. Ask questions to some of the friends that might be ahead in their games in terms of organizing events and running maybe restaurants or hotels. So do enough research about the work that you would like to do and the skills that you need. And then lastly, just work. Learn and learn and learn, relearn and learn and learn again. So I think after you have the right attitude, and you're patient enough, you've got the grit and the never give up mindset. And fourth, you've done some research about the companies that you're going to work for and the position that you're applying for. And lastly, just put in some work, keep working no matter what. I think those are the 5 things I would say that you really need. And if in terms of document, be ready. I will say that if it's your CV that's not updated now, update it. If you don't have a passport, acquire your passport. If you're not working right now, find a place where you can volunteer and gain some skills, or where you can learn and gain a little bit of certificate, whether it's practical or theoretical online. So try to learn and position yourself. First of all, have documents ready in terms of CV. Do some research about interviewing and the position you're applying for, so that the opportunity, when they come, you're actually confident that you can apply, get to the interview level, and eventually get the job.
And I'd like to follow that up with, now that we've spoken about the staff member that might be considering, hospitality as a career. So this might be someone that's at school, someone who's unemployed, just looking for work in general. Um, do we have a program in place within hospitality? Because I think the hospitality sector should be looking after itself, making sure that it is getting the the right caliber and the right amounts of staffing that it needs to support what is clearly going to be a very growing industry. Do we have processes in place, or programs, I think is probably the better way to put it, to make sure that people are choosing hospitality as a career? The people in at school level get told, when I was at school, there were certain subjects you could take, like one we called it home economics, where it was centered around cooking, and I took that because I wanted to be a chef. Are we doing that at an early enough stage for those school goers, and for those who have left school and might still be looking for that starting career? What do we have in place to ensure that hospitality is getting the staffing that it needs on an ongoing basis?
This is a very good question, Clayton. I think now there are many I think not just platforms, there are also programs in place organized, I think, by RDB and different NGOs like GIZ. As you said, there's also some hospitality schools which are really doing as much as they can to spread the word and really put it out there so that people who are graduating, I mean, the young Rwandans who are graduating from high school have at least information necessary if they are willing to join that thriving industry, as you're saying. However, I will say that there's still more work to be done, and I think the work that you're doing within this podcast is really important. This will also help, putting up systems right, maybe after high school. It wouldn't be all the high schools, for example, in the country, but having informations available for students in high school so that they have choices within any career that they would like to pursue or further their education within that career or courses. I think also it's everywhere. It's not just in Rwanda. It is everywhere, really. Like many young girls and boys are really interested more in some of what we will call, like the office jobs. Let's say, like finance will be one of them, or medicine, or engineering. There's nothing bad with that, or even technology. There's nothing bad with that. But I think we even know that hospitality is one of the industries that are driving economies around the world. And we know that there are many professional chefs, there are many professional barista or sommeliers that are really doing great in their careers, and they're able to help their families, themselves, and progress professionally and personally. So it's time that many people know and understand that hospitality is actually just as equal as any other career that you can pursue. And not just hospitality, other things as well, like art and different other things should be given equal recognitions in terms of students in high school or university, as they would like to, as they are moving on with their lives and pursuing different topics of studies. So yeah, I think there's still some improvements to be done, and it's not just for RDB or different organization working in that area. It's for all of us to really showcase the importance of hospitality, to showcase what it has done, and share the knowledge within hospitality, so that those who are a little bit hesitant in joining this beautiful career can actually learn more and join with confidence.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. Jimmy, thank you so much, as always, for joining us on the Hip Rwanda podcast. And I will see you very soon this week, and we'll be putting together some really great stuff for episode 4. So please tune in. And Jimmy, just before you go, if there's anything else you want to add, any news you have, take it away.
What do I want to say? I always like to talk to my fellow brothers and sisters out there who are looking for jobs, or who are in their careers right now, but they are a little bit confused of which way to go or move forward, or they're just looking for a change. I would like to say that one thing, we always have to have a honest conversation with ourselves. So let's take time and sit by yourself and really look into yourself and say, what would I like to do? What is the career that I would like to pursue? Not what is popular, not what many people are pursuing, or your friends are pushing you to pursue, or your family. No, something that you really are passionate about, something that you really love. So what is that thing that energizes you? And then really take steps back and say, what can I do to achieve at least one thing on a daily or weekly basis to which is aligning with what with my goal in 5 or 10 years. Then do those, make those small steps. And lastly, really don't rush anything. Everything will come into place if you are really putting in some work. I will say, in terms of careers, there are definitely different jobs in Rwanda and outside of Rwanda. It's also depend on how you look into things. I would also like to mention, Clayton, that I work with. As a recruitment consultant, I work with different recruitment organizations as well. There's one called GR8 Recruitment in Jersey. So, for example, when they also have positions, sometimes they reach out to me and they reach out to me and they ask me if there will be some, some candidate who might be interested. And it's mostly hospitality. We are looking into other sectors, and we will definitely be updating you. So if you would like to reach out, there are always some position. Share your email. I mean, I will share my email with you, or you can just reach out through the hiprwanda.com website, through the podcast. There will be my contacts there, and or reach out to Clayton, who will reach back to me. So that what I will say. There are always opportunities there. Be prepared, have a honest conversation with yourself, take small steps, and everything will come into place.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for episode 3. Thank you so much for joining us. We absolutely appreciate having you. And also, please spread the word about the hotels and the restaurants that we review, and also spread the word about us. Don't forget to go to wherever you get your podcast and subscribe. You can also subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. We'd really appreciate that. And you can go to hiprwanda.com for anything else that you might need, and email us on hiprwanda@gmail.com. That is it. Have an amazing Monday and an awesome hospitality week.